if you're in this configuration, if you're here to measure current and you have this lead in here, it will lock it in to the current setting. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Luke, and today we're going to be going over all the different test settings on your Kaiweets KM602 digital smart multimeter. Kaiweets is a great brand. They are an affiliate but not a sponsor, so always check out the description for the latest and greatest discount codes. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into it. Okay, I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down, but this display is incredibly difficult to see. And there is no adjustment. However, it does look like there's a screen protector. Okay. All right, I have readjusted the lighting for the camera in the studio to be able to get this screen to show up. So let's do some comparative measurements. So right now I'm filming in, 27 foot candles. Normally I film in about 113 foot candles of light, it looks like. So I guess this meter would only be good if you plan on doing your measurements in a pretty dark room. There's no brightness setting. This is kind of unfortunate. While we've got the light meter out, let's go ahead and check out the flashlight because you're definitely going to need it for the conditions that you're working in. Okay. It's a pretty small little spotlight from about 5 or 6 inches. It gets to about 2,000 lumens. It's pretty dark in here, and I can barely make out the screen. So this is a really interesting design choice. I'm having trouble kind of figuring this out. And if you haven't noticed, the leads for the ports are only visible when the screen is on. Now this is a smart meter. And what does that mean? That means that it should be able to auto select what you're trying to measure. Yeah, it's going to be limited to what it's cycling through here. It'll be able to detect if it's a volt AC or DC circuit, resistance, or if you're checking for continuity. It's not going to be able to auto detect, things like millivolt, Hertz, duty cycle, capacitance, diode, thermocouple, current, AC and DC, and non-contact. Although there are a host of really awesome settings on here, I guess that's one of the few redeeming qualities that it has. So let's try just a couple different, throw a few different things at it and see how the auto smart function responds to those different things. So like we could take a battery and it's just an auto and take a measurement. Okay, and it seems to say this is volts DC. It selected the appropriate setting, and then it gives us a voltage readout. It's going to go back to auto selection. So now let's try volts AC, and let's just see what we get. Okay, I was able to recognize that it was AC voltage, and we've got our 120. While we're here, if you're trying to figure out, if you're testing just an outlet like this, I always recommend getting just a dedicated outlet tester, something like this. There's a bunch of different companies that make them, and it'll show you if the wiring's correct and possibly the voltage, depending on the model that you get. If you're testing an outlet with just your leads, which I don't recommend you do, you can just go ahead and put your probes in there and look for your 120. Now, The disadvantage to this is you know your voltage, but you don't know if the outlet is wired correctly. You don't know if the hot or the neutral have been swapped. So what would you do for that? Well, you would need a ground. If your outlet doesn't have a ground present, you'll need to bring a ground to your testing area, and you can use that to discern it. So we'll even pretend like I have a ground terminal over here, and we can pretend that's a ground that you found somewhere else in the house. And then we can use the leads to determine, okay, from this one to ground, the difference in potential is 120. So that tells me that's my hot. So then if I do have a complete circuit and I'm showing 120, then I can assume that this is my neutral. And let's take a look at, let's see, it says it can auto detect resistance, a resistive measurement. So let's just throw a lower kind of resistance measurement at it. Okay, it seemed to pick that up, no problem. And then let's do for continuity. Okay. And it just went ahead and chimed. It does take a second. You can hear a relay in there clicking as it's trying to think. And then it has select function, min-max, your hold, and then your flashlight. Man, this thing, it was so cool, and it's such a bummer that the screen on this thing is so weak. Now we should be able to select. We're manually cycling through the functions using the function button here on the side. So you can see this dial cycling through. And now we're on millivolts. And then I should be able to hit the select button to select whether I'm measuring an AC or DC for my millivolts, because on my millivolts, on the display here, you can see that it has a squiggly line and a solid line. The solid line represents DC and the squiggly line represents AC. So you can see, like with our current measurements, it also has a solid and squiggly line, meaning that it can measure current for AC or DC as well. So just something to kind of pay attention to. And what would like a millivolts kind of look like? Let's see how well it does with this speaker test. A speaker and a microphone are essentially the same thing. Two, if you want to get better leads for this meter, because these leads are pretty stiff, I've got silicone leads listed down in the description, so go check them out. So now we've turned this speaker into a microphone, and my finger is going to act as the pressure waves because it's such a large diaphragm, it's not very sensitive. So I'm going to tap on this thing like a kid with a fish tank, and we should see some little spikes come up here on our screen. There we go. And we're even getting a frequency displayed here, which is pretty cool. If you're not sure what millivolts would be good for, at least millivolts AC would be really good for like industrial electrical testing or commercial electrical, where you're working with instrumentation. And then millivolts DC would be great for like hobbyist electronics. So it's great that it has both of those. That's a really cool feature. Next, we can function over to Hertz and duty cycle. I'm just going to output a little wave from a signal generator. And we can see it's a 50% duty cycle at 100 Hertz. Let's just go over Hertz and duty cycle really quick. So like right now, my signal generator is outputting a sine wave like this. What it's trying to say by 100 is it's trying to say in 1 second, this is going to turn from plus to minus or on to off. Okay, it's just switching. It's counting how many times it's switching back and forth. And then duty cycle is the amount of times that it's on versus the times that it's off down here. Okay, so it's telling us that it's an even split in this wave, as opposed to if I had like, let's say a pulse width modulated PWM kind of waveform, and it looked something like this, like a little sawtooth, then this would probably say something like 20%. Hope that makes sense. Very cool. Okay, next up we have capacitance. Notice how our COM and our input locations has not changed. Okay, so we've got two different capacitors we can show you some examples with. First note, when testing capacitors, always make sure that they're discharged. So I can go from common to fan. Basically, I'm just shorting them out, dissipating any leftover energy. Now this looks like a very large, scary capacitor, but it's only rated for 35 microfarads. This is a run capacitor, it's not a start capacitor. First, we can change the setting that we're on, and we can do COM to fan. Let's see what we come back with. Always give it a minute to charge, no matter what the meter. And it's saying 5 microfarads, but 5 and then micro, that little funky U down there, microfarads. That's what we're looking at. And then we can do from common to Herm, because this has 3 terminals, but it's really 2 capacitors in one. And they share the common terminal. That's why it's common. 35 microfarads, great. And then if we wanted to check like this little guy, it's got a little negative side on one side, so we can put our black lead to negative and red lead to positive. We'll give it a minute to charge up. So watch out here, because this will throw you off. It says 0.631 millifarads. That's what the lowercase m is for. So it said 0.631 millifarads. But our capacitor is rated for 680 microfarads. Because it's milli, we got to convert it. This is actually equal to 631 microfarads. And that might trip you up. So you really have to pay attention to your units of measurement while you're doing this. Diode, it's hard to see on camera. There's a white stripe that is really chipped away on the right-hand side of this diode. Diodes are directional, so it's important that we pay attention. I've got the stripe on the right, and I'll put my red lead on the left. And that's showing us the voltage drop across this diode. 568 millivolts of voltage drop, and then we'll just check it in the other direction. And it says OL, which means it's open, which means electricity can't backflow, telling us that's good. Next up is going to be our thermocouple. So we'll have to change out the leads. Now, I'm not a big fan of this style of lead because it can be really sensitive to breaking. So please, insert and remove by the plastic. Don't pull back here. The other reason why I'm not a big fan of this style is even if you are really careful, because this thing bites so well, as you release and pull back, if you pull back too hard, you're going to slam this thing backward like this, and it's going to kink here, and it could pull it out of here. That's why I'm not a big fan of this style. But something I always do when I'm about to use the thermocouple is I'll put my fingers, we should be able to hit the select to change it to Fahrenheit. Oh, we've got Fahrenheit up there. I'll put my fingers on the probe end of the thermocouple, and I'll look for a rise in temperature that should be appropriate. And that way I'm kind of like double checking that my thermocouple leads still have integrity, right? They haven't been destroyed from me pulling them in and out, but just be really careful with those. Okay, and then next we have current. Now look at here, it's telling you, do not measure voltage. You will barbecue something if you try to measure voltage in this setting. And we're gonna go over exactly why that is. So it's telling me put my red lead to the far left. I'll keep my black lead. Your black lead will always live in the common port. Okay, we have voltage present here. We have an incomplete circuit. So we have changed the configuration of our meter by moving the red lead from here to here. And so what that does is it turns our leads into essentially a jumper cable like this. There's no difference between this jumper cable and the way that our leads are now because we've changed the configuration. So there's voltage here, right? And so if I took my leads and was like, oh, I want to do a voltage measurement before I do a current measurement, the same thing as taking this jumper wire and putting it across these two live terminals. And that would create a short circuit. And so it would blow either the equipment that you're working on or the fuse built into the meter. But we can use this to our advantage because our leads are now like a jumper wire. Think of them like this, right? We can use it to our advantage. We can use that jumper wire to complete our circuit, right? So we're going to do the same thing with our leads, except this time, now we have the advantage of having a multimeter attached to our jumper wire. And so we can make a current measurement. I'm in DC. I can go ahead and press the hold button. And now I can see, okay, I've got 2 amps of DC current. Okay. And then this function should also, we should also be able to cycle to AC if we want to. And then lastly, we have non-contact voltage and live. That is a very clever design. So if you weren't catching what was happening, if you're in this configuration, if you're here to measure current and you have this lead in here, it will lock it in to the current setting. And if you try to hit the function button to cycle out of here, it says, no, 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 you can't measure voltage. It is not until you release the lead that it will let you cycle through the functions. And that is a really good design. The people that design that are not the same people that design the screen. I'll tell you that. Okay, non-contact voltage. What is it? It's basically like a hot stick built into your meter. We've got a live circuit here. There should be an antenna on here, and it's letting us know what's hot, right? The hard thing is like if you're trying to check what's hot in like a receptacle box, you can't fit this whole thing in there. You know what I mean? Or a light box or whatever. They also have what's called the live. If I hit the selection button, now it's in live. And now in theory, I should be able to just use this red probe to check if things are hot. But it looks like you have to make actual contact with something that's hot. Final kind of takeaway on this whole thing. I love the concept and I love the idea of bringing meters into like the 21st century and like really updating them. We're all used to this kind of setup, right? With our phones and everything. But to actually make this work, you're going to have a much brighter and better screen. I think all of the function on it they're great. They're all working, which is another thing that you would be surprised that sometimes doesn't happen. All the functions here work. Everything works as intended. There's even that goodie of not being able to cycle out of the current measurement without pulling out the lead, which I love, but they're going to have to figure out the screen because it's dark in here. This is not going to be your normal working conditions. With all that being said, if you got any questions, comments, or concerns, and I've got a bunch more videos like this if you guys are trying to learn this stuff, I'll catch you on the next one.